Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. It looks like the Be Live is being a little slow. It looks like I'm moving in slow motion. Okay, it'll catch up. I'm sure it'll be fine. Well, welcome to the show today. I am Cheryl Piper, and you are on live with CherylPiper.com. And today is Wednesday, so it is interview day. Yay! And I have a special guest today. Her name is Cheryle McKee. And I'm sorry, Cheryle McKee. I said her name wrong. She's laughing at me down in the green room. She is a nutritionalist, a certified nutritionalist, and she has so many certifications and everything. I'm not going to try to name them all, but she is the owner of Nourishing Abundance, located in downtown Frederick, Maryland. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up, and we're going to chat today about digestion. So, what I want for you guys to do is to put your comments in the comment box. Please share out to, anybody that, you're thinking that, wow, they could really use this. They've been talking to me about having problems with nutrition or problems with digestion. And, we've got a nutritionalist on here today. So, let them know what's going on. And I need to make sure that you guys are over on the original post for this, which is under my business page, Cheryl Piper on Facebook. And you can get there by going to @CherylPiperSendsLove. So I won't be able to see your comments if you're not there. So please scoot on over to that area, and then I will be able to see your comments, and then we can answer them live, because we really like you to be, part of the show, and make your comments and get your questions answered. So I am going to go ahead and bring Cheryl up from the green room, and we will say hi to her. Hi, Cheryl.
How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to live with CherylPiper.com. So we're like two Cheryls here today. That's awesome. It's going to be so confusing for everyone. So you are Cheryl with an E. I'm sorry, what?
I said, these are smart people. They'll figure it out, Cheryl.
Okay, so I was just saying you are Cheryl with an E. Yes. And when I think about that, I always think of Green Gables, Anne with an E. And so I'm just so excited for you to be on the show. Cheryl and I, we go back, I guess it was maybe almost 2 years ago when you and I met from a mutual friend. Yeah. And so I'm excited because, she has a great business in downtown, in that beautiful historic area of downtown Frederick. And I'm going to kind of let you kind of take it away a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself. I did say that you're a certified, nutritionalist and board certified, but I'd like you to, tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll get into our topic.
Okay. So I am a board certified nutritionist, and I'm licensed in Maryland, and I'm the owner of Nourishing Abundance, where it's all about food and stress management. I wasn't always a nutritionist, though. I only started the company about 4 years ago. Before that, I was an IT project manager. So my first degree is actually in IT. And I did that for about 25 and a half years and loved it. And I think it's helped me an awful lot in being a nutritionist. But I came to be a nutritionist through some health journeys with myself and my daughter, and really began about 20 plus years ago to understand the importance of food and how it will change your life, because I grew up kind of sick, always having bronchitis and sinus infections, and the list went on, but I had no idea that it was even a problem because it had been my life, right? So you know what you know. And
exactly. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, but when my second daughter, had health issues, that's what, the mama bear comes out, and you suddenly start figuring out all of these connections, and that's when I really began looking into nutrition. So whenever it came time that I wanted to retire and do something new and not drive down to Chevy Chase every day, I thought, what am I good at? And I started asking people, what am I good at? And they're like, well, you're so good about this food thing, maybe you can help people with that. And so I went back to school while I was still finishing up my first career and got my master's and then sat for my board exams and jumped right into practice. And I have to say it's lovely. I totally, totally, totally love what I do. So.
Oh, and isn't it so great to wake up every day and do something you love? I mean, feel so grateful and blessed.
Me too. Me too.
Because it's all about helping people.
Yeah, and it just feels so good at the end of the day, especially when you've had your own health issues and you've come out of it, to be able to help someone else who's been struggling to come out of it and regain their life. Oh my gosh, that's so rewarding. But I have to tell you, my real passion is helping people to not get sick. So I do a lot of training and education and working with corporations to help their employees and doing community service kinds of things, because I really want people not to get sick.
So tell us a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about that as far as what you do with corporations and businesses and individuals to help them prevent this situation?
Yeah. So I teach a number of different classes, and right now my website's under construction. In the next couple of weeks, it'll be totally done. So if you go out there, you'll see all kinds of classes, but the dates for them have passed. So I do this community training, and now that I've moved offices, I have room to actually do training in my office, which is really, really nice. But I also go into small businesses and corporations and even just churches and that kind of thing, and help them to address whatever's going on in their community, right? Whether that's employees or, churchgoers or whatever. And I kind of work with each business individually because each business has its own culture, right? And the problems they're facing differ, and you want to kind of bring it into their philosophy and help them to set a culture that works for their employees. Because we need upper management also walking the walk and talking the talk, not just saying you need to go get well, and then they're sitting out in the parking lot, drinking a Coke and smoking or whatever. It's like telling your kids do so because I said so. So I just sit down with them and kind of go through what their needs are and figure out how we can address those needs. And whether it's a short program or a longer program, it depends on the company, but it's all custom for them. I mean, and the basic ideas and premises are the same throughout all the companies, but it's a matter of the order in which we go through to help them see results most quickly, Does that all make sense?
It does. It's just so interesting because, it's amazing that so many times we don't think about what we eat and how it impacts every part of our life. Yeah. And, I know today we're going to be talking about, digestion. And I know one of the things that I have on my list that we're going to talk about how all the senses play a role in digestion. And I think, that is really going to be great for everybody out there listening, whether it's live or on the rebroadcast. Please put your comments in because this is an interesting subject. So, Cheryl, just take it away. Can you tell us about how our senses play a role in digestion?
Sure. So the simplest thing, and I guess one of the biggest things that I didn't realize I would be doing when I became a nutritionist, I kind of really thought that I was going to just help people eat right because I had been trained in all of these different diets and conditions and, this is right for that, blah, blah, blah. But when I got into the world, I started to realize that food is just a small subset of the issue. It's really more all about stress, because people a lot of times know what they need to be eating. It's just that they can't do it because they're so stressed out. They're going through all the motions every day, but it's too much and they're tired. So I started really delving into stress, and the thing that I wish someone would have told me, I mean, we did learn about it, because it's a naturopathic school that I went to, but the real ramifications of stress on digestion, let me explain it like this. So stress is really intended to protect us, right? To get us away from an attacker or something that's going to hurt us. But if you're running from an attacker, it's not time to, stop and have a snack, to go to the bathroom, to take a nap, to procreate, any of those kinds of things. And so when you stop and realize how that works, then you can go backwards and begin to see how your senses play into that. So I want you to think about that. When we were first on Earth, we did not have, McDonald's to run through. We didn't have grocery stores to go in and find our food. We actually had to use our senses. And our senses are really only actually being utilized when we're relaxed. I mean, if you're running from an attacker, you're not looking around, you're not smelling the roses, you're not tasting anything, right? You're just hauling butt trying to get away. But whenever you're in a relaxed state, you can use your eyes to look for food and see the beauty of it. You can smell it, right? You can taste it. Your ears even play into the mix, right? If you were hunting for your food, it might be hunting you too. So you need to be listening for it, rustling the movie, right? So anyway, all of these things are necessary to properly digest our food, because certainly taste is going to tell us if it's good for us, right? If it's a bitter tasting thing, that tells our body that this might actually be poisonous, because bitter things in the wild often are poisonous. So that ramps up liver production, right?
Yeah.
Other things happen on our tongue. Like there's all these little zones, if you will. Like at the end of our tongue is sweet, and on the sides are bitter and acidic, and in the back, actually in the back is bitter. On the sides are salty and acidic. So we actually need to taste our food, and we need to use our whole tongue whenever we're chewing. Our whole mouth, we tend to chew on this one side. And what happens when we do that, not only are we only using the taste receptors from that one side of the tongue, so it's getting a real workout, and the other side's getting all, flimsy and out of shape. But we're not really getting a full mouthful either. Whenever we use the whole tongue, everybody gets the message of what's coming in and can tell the rest of the body what to do with it, right? So a sweet taste on our tongue tells the pancreas to release insulin, so that it knows that there's some energy coming, and can tell the cells open up and take this beautiful energy that sweet things give us, right?
Oh my goodness, this is fascinating.
Here's a really fascinating thing that people don't think about. So if sweet tastes tell the pancreas to release insulin, guess what happens whenever you're busy drinking Diet Coke and all of these artificially flavored things that don't have any sugar? The pancreas is still releasing insulin. And so it's knocking at the door of the cells and saying, open up, I've got this sugar for you, because all carbohydrates and sweet things break down to sugar, and then there's no sugar for them. So it's like the boy who cried wolf. Stop opening.
Wow. So you know what? I think I'd like you to say that again, because I think that is so important with the artificial sweeteners. I would love for you to say that again. Could you do that?
Yes, I would. So whenever we use the receptors on our tongue, a sweet taste signals, because just think about it, food is communication. That's all it is, right? It's there to nourish us, but it does that through communication. And so that sweet taste on the tip of our tongue actually tells our pancreas, hey, there's some energy coming. So start producing a little bit of insulin, because insulin is the fairy that tells the cells to open up and accept this energy, right? This sweet energy. And whenever we drink diet sodas and all these artificially flavored things that don't have any sugar, the sweet taste still says, pancreas, release insulin. And yet the cells open up and there's no sugar. So they eventually, over time, stop opening up. It's like crying wolf. And they stop accepting the message from insulin. So can you say insulin resistance, which leads to prediabetes, which is actually prediabetes, and then eventually diabetes. And you're not having a ton of sugar theoretically, because you're doing everything artificial.
But the body's confused. Like we were saying, the body's confused.
It's absolutely confused. And it's a really hard thing to unwind. So I say, if you're going to have sugar, have some real sugar. I mean, we don't need a whole ton of it. We shouldn't be going out all day eating nothing but carbs. But if you're going to have sugar, have the real thing so that your body can actually use it properly. Just be mindful of how much you're having and don't overdo it, because it's not needed.
Well, now I have a question for you, because I'm a big stevia user. And so, understanding that it is, a natural herb,
Yeah.
And so can you talk a little, would you mind talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So stevia, I grow stevia in my garden in the summer. It's a beautiful plant. And I will take a sprig of stevia and drop it into tea because I grew up in the South and we love sweet tea, right? That's really nice, but that's a whole food. And
Yes.
you take that green stevia and turn it into something white. It is no longer a whole food because stevia is green.
Mm-hmm.
It should never convert to white. That's something not healthy. However, if you make a tincture out of stevia,
Mm-hmm.
like, put it into a solvent, whether it's water or alcohol, I forget which one dissolves it. I just use a pill. It's actually not so bad drawing out all the constituents of it. Now, for you, and I know that you eat well and you eat healthy throughout the day. So I know that you're probably not just giving yourself stevia sweetened food. You're getting a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables and starchy vegetables and that kind of thing. So I know that throughout the day, you're giving your body some sugar, right? Even though it's a good quality sugar. So your body's not going to have the same reaction from stevia as the people who only use stevia and never had, like if you're doing a ketogenic diet and all of that stuff and you're still putting in all of these sweet tasting things that have no sugar, that's going to present a problem later on. So it's different. It's different for each person, which is why working one-on-one with people is really important, because you actually have to see what they're doing in their entire life and what they're capable of, what their skills are, what the knowledge is, and then help them to address it for their needs. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Thank you so much. Now, you did talk a little bit about chewing as far as I didn't know. Did you want to go more into that, or like how? I know that isn't that what your mom used to, or your grandmother used to always say, about chewing your food so many times, and I know it is important. So I'd love for you to chat about that a little.
Yes. So let's go back again for just a second to how the different senses work. So
okay, good.
We eat with our eyes, right? If somebody brings you a beautiful plate of colorful things, then it looks good and you want to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they would just bring you a cardboardy looking meal, you'd be like, this isn't going to taste good, right? So one of the most important things is that we actually sit down and enjoy our food without distraction. And we let our senses work for us. So we look at our food. We spend time preparing it. Because while you're cooking, you're using your hands, you're touching your food. So there's communication taking place in that realm. You're seeing it, you're smelling it. You can even hear it. Whenever you drop something into a sizzling skillet, you hear it. So all senses are preparing your body to be ready to eat. And then if you sit down and you eat without distractions, then all of those senses continue to provide feedback and tell the organs what's coming for them, right? And then chewing fits into that because we have on our tongue all of these taste receptors that say, is this sweet? Is it salty? Is it bitter? Is it acidic? And different things happen in the body, like that sweet taste talks to the pancreas, that bitter taste talks to the liver, sour in some ways talks to the liver and kidneys. But on the tongue, there are also, if you're familiar with acupuncture or reflexology and the meridians in the body and that kind of stuff, on the tongue, there's a huge map, all kinds of places on the tongue, mapped to different organs. So whenever you're chewing and you're letting your food go across your entire tongue, so everybody gets innervated and the whole tongue is getting used equally, that all of these messages are taking place. And digestion actually starts in the mouth. So you're chemically breaking down just a little bit in the mouth. And then if you've chewed properly and your food has been broken down into almost like a watery consistency. So 20 chews is kind of just a number to give people to say, at least start here. You can chew for longer. The more liquidy it is whenever you swallow, the better chance your stomach is going to have of accepting it and doing the right thing with it. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
The other really cool thing about using both sides of your mouth to chew is that if you're just using one side, think about how tight the muscles on that side are becoming. Extend down all the way into the neck And whenever those get tight, and these actually will atrophy if you're not using them, right? So if I just chew on this side, I'm really tense in this side and very toned, imbalance in my face, and we can relate that to TMJ. So all the grinding we do and clenching at night when we sleep, a lot of times it's just because these joints are not in alignment and the muscles are all out of balance. And that is another reason, like we know a lot of times that we carry our stress in our face, like we clench our teeth when we're all stressed and we, hold ourselves all tight when we're stressed. Well, if this is out of balance and you're also holding all your tension here, imagine how hard it is for all of those messages to be sent because they can't communicate. There's just not a nice, relaxed characteristic.
Flow. The flow isn't there. Yeah, the flow isn't there because of the tension. You're pinching things off. Yes.
Right. And there's this lymph, right, in our neck. And, I don't know if people realize that the brain actually drains through all this lymph here, right? So if we have all this all tightened up and there's no communication going on and it can't drain, then guess what's happening? We're going to have headaches and we're going to have ADD and we're not going to sleep well and all of these things because our brain never gets a chance to detox. So it's very cool to start to really realize that the senses play into what our body hears and what it does with our food, how we chew matters, that we actually take a little bit of time sometimes and just relax. And eating is actually a chance to do that, which is the beauty, because we have to eat, right? It's the only way to nourish ourselves physically, physiologically. And so we do it for all kinds of reasons, because we're happy, because we're sad, because we're hungry, because we're not. And so at that time, get rid of all your distractions. Stop checking your email. Stop going crazy with all of this other work you have to do and just stop and enjoy your food. Because as I was saying when we started, we have two systems. One to manage stress, which is the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, to get us away from something that's going to attack us. And we have this parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and relaxation. And digestion and sleep and going to the bathroom and procreating all take place in the parasympathetic rest and relaxation system. So if you're busy all the time, always on the go, stressing, you're busy shoving food down your face while you're checking your email and responding to somebody who was nasty, or you're driving down the road and you're tossing food into the back seat while you run your kids to their evening activities, and you're not using your senses and you're all stressed out, you're not going to digest. And guess what? You're not going to sleep well that night. You're probably not going to go to the bathroom well, and probably going to have some hormonal imbalance. So really, we have to do more to just, if all you can do is 5 minutes to just stop everything and enjoy your food, spend that time chewing it properly, just relax and let out the stress. It can actually become a little mini retreat, even in 5 minutes. And then you're going to use the food to actually get nourishment. And this is super important if you're trying to lose weight, is if you're just eating and your body never gets the signals that, one, it has food coming, and two, what to do with it, then you're never going to feel satisfied. And you're not even going to realize you're full. You'll just keep eating because your body doesn't break down your food. So frankly, it's always hungry.
Yes, I have heard that before. Yes. But you know what, if you don't mind if I interject,
Yes.
What I'm here, one thing that keeps coming up in my mind and listening to what you're saying is it reminds me of, how they say Europeans eat and it's an experience.
Yes.
It's like, and food, like they're not in a hurry. They're enjoying the meal. They're enjoying the food. They're enjoying the company. They're totally engaged in the act of that meal with all the joy that comes with it in interacting with community, meaning their family. And that just popped into my head as you were saying that.
Well, and you know what? We experience that when we go on vacation. People tell me a lot of times they can't eat this or they can't eat that. And then they're confounded because whenever they're on vacation, they can suddenly eat it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Or in the summer, whenever we're cooking out and we're sitting outside and just relaxing outside while things are on the grill, and all of a sudden it just feels so much easier and we digest better and we sleep better and we have more energy. It's because we're actually chilling out while we eat.
Exactly. So it's important to be in the moment, because I talk about this a lot with the things that I do, in being in the present moment and being where you are and experiencing that.
Yes, exactly. So if there's one thing, this one message I could leave for people, because I know we're coming up on our half hour here.
Yes. Which was fast.
It does go fast. There's so much to share. I mean, I could just go on for days about stuff. But if there's just one message, it's that we have to slow down. We really have to slow down. We're all kind of trying to do too much. And for the most part, we can do a lot less. You know, there's no reason for you or I to be the only one. I'm going to hear that all the time. The only one in the house who will do blah, blah, blah. Wrong, right? There's other people in our household. There are other people in our workplace. Everybody does their own job. You do yours to the best of your ability, but you don't have to worry about doing everybody else's. So, you know, find out what you actually, what makes you come alive, and stay focused on that. And don't be overdoing and overgiving and feeling like you have to say yes to everything. Slow down, at least enough so that you can actually eat some decent food and enjoy it and digest it properly. You know, and take care of yourself.
That's a fantastic message, and that's a great way for us to kind of to end our segment with you today, Cheryl. And I do have your website up there for people to be able to contact you at nourishingabundance.com. And I do have a quick question before I take you back down to the green room. Do you work with people? I know you work with people one-on-one and you work with companies, but do you work with people online as well as in person?
Yes, it depends on the state. Some states don't accept nutrition. There's a little bit of a difference between registered dietitians and nutritionists. All of the states recognize registered dietitians, but not all states recognize nutritionists yet.
Okay, so people could contact you. They could contact you and say, hey, you know, I like what you were talking about. I'd like more information, and hopefully we can work together, and you'd be able to let them know. Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks so much for talking with us about digestion today, and what an important role that plays in just our life and our well-being. I'm going to take you back down to the green room and wrap the show up, and then you and I can chat a little bit, okay?
Thanks so much for having me on. And if anybody has questions, just feel free to email me, you know, or give me a call, because I would love to share more.
Okay, thank you so much, Cheryl. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a great conversation about nutrition and, you know, exactly how important digestion is in our health. What we eat, not just what we eat, but how we eat it. So once again, you can reach Cheryl. I'm going to put her website up here again. You can reach her and at her website, nourishingabundance.com, and I'm sure she has a contact us area there for you to fill in your information that you guys can get in contact with each other. I would like to wrap the show up today and just say thank you so much for joining us. It was a great talk. I do have one project that I'm working on, and I'm going to be throwing it out there and letting you guys know for the next couple months until we really get it going. And it is called Tri-State Women Retreats. And we are going to start with our first retreat in April, and that will be here in Hagerstown, Maryland. So any of you that are local, watch for the promo for that. And I would just like to say thanks again for tuning in. I will be here Sunday evening for our Sunday evening meditation to work our way into the work week with ease and relax. And then Monday, I'll be here as normal, just chatting with you at 1 o'clock Eastern time. live with CherylPiper.com. Have a wonderful day.